welcome back to the channel. As you can see here, I picked up myself a Banshee. This is a 2001 Yamaha Banshee. So, little backstory on it. The motor is locked up. Seized. So what the guy said is these head bolts weren't tightened down all the way. They started leaking coolant out of there. He said he let it cool down. He went to try starting it and the motor is locked. He said he took a little camera down in there, the special ones to take spark plug off. You could look around. He said the cylinder looks scored. So I'm hoping just needs new cylinder and pistons. But besides the motor being locked up, it's a pretty nice quad overall. Has extended A-arms. Has aftermarket head, full FMF exhaust. Pro taper bars, and gave me a few extra parts with it. Gave me the dirt ties for it too. It probably has a few more things I just don't know about yet. So what I want to do now is take it to a pressure washer, give it a little wash, because you can see all the sand, because this guy used it for the sand dunes. So yeah, let's get right to work. Alright guys, so I got the Banshee in the shop. So I'm gonna start tearing apart the top end, but I think first the gas tank has to come off, seat. So I'm gonna just start tearing into the quad and see what's to come apart first. Alright guys, so this turned out a little worse than I thought. If you guys can see, there's little stuff. I'll show you right now. Well, there's like a bunch of random metal stuff in the cylinder. And then this piston's all shot. See that right there? So I'm hoping I can at least pull the cylinders off and see if the crank is good, because I'm starting to doubt it at this point. So I guess let's try pulling off these cylinders and go from there. Alright guys, so I just got the cylinder off. Give you guys a closer look. That's the bearing. I think that bearing came off just because that's not normal, obviously. And the crank is seized. I'm gonna guess because a bearing went out from here. All the pieces went down in the bottom end. So what it looks like, I'm gonna have to pull this motor and put a new crankshaft in, which I'm pretty lucky because I found one for like 230 bucks, which is pretty good deal because it's already welded, so you can push a little more power. So yeah, let's just start pulling this motor out of here, splitting the cases. And here are the cylinders. There's the head. The head is actually pretty shot. Alrighty guys, so it's the next day with the Banshee. Yesterday I got kind of carried away with other projects. So one of my today's goal is to get the motor out of here, disassembled all the way, and so I know what the motor needs, because as of right now I know it needs new cylinder, new head, new piston, new rings. But what I'm thinking is going to need a new crank and crank bearings possibly. So that's why I'm taking this motor apart. So enough staying around talking. I'm gonna get right back to work. Hey guys, so I finally pulled the motor out of the quad. What I want to do now is cover the holes right here from the cylinder and pressure wash the motor, just because all the sand on here. It's kind of annoying to work on. So what I'm going to do is clean up the motor and keep tearing it apart. This temporary light setup so you guys can see a little better. I put 2 tables so it's a little more organized, so I'm going to put all this stuff take off on this table and tear the motor apart right here. So I'm going to start off by removing this clutch cover. so I split my cases. Parts right there. Trying to keep as organized as I can. I got transmission, the other case. Here are the pistons. See, they're broken. Bunch of little pieces in here. Pretty crazy how that happens, but when you're pushing a lot of power, you know, you got to keep everything up to date with your oil and your coolant. And the crank is in pretty good shape. The crank bearings though make a little bit of noise, so I'm definitely gonna run these. I'm gonna do a little more research if you can replace these, because these make a little noise too. And if you can't replace the bearings, which I'm sure you can, I'll just buy a new crankshaft. And for the cylinders, I'm gonna pick up myself a new pair of those and a new pistons. So, the cases, they do have a little wear, but nothing crazy, still usable. So, I'm guessing I'm gonna have to put around $500 to get this motor going, which is actually really good. So, I'm gonna clean up and go order some parts. Alright guys, so I finally cleaned everything up pretty decently. Put all the motor parts right here. Keeping everything organized as best I can, so when I'm putting it back together, it's going to be pretty easy. I got the quad chilling right here. And then just plastics on their own note. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is part 1 of the Banshee build. Part 2 will be me installing new parts, getting the motor together. So stay tuned for that. I'll catch everybody in the next one.